Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leadership. And today with me, I have the pleasure of welcoming Mr. Rudy Shoushany, a friend and an old colleague of mine. And Rudy, I would let you introduce yourself to the public. Please go ahead. Probably we're not hearing you, Rudy. Something wrong from your mic?
Hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying when I want to introduce myself, I always say which identity or which hat, because I hold so many hats. But I'll introduce myself as the founder of Digital Transformation Talks and Crypto Talks, which talk about the awareness of that digital transformation that we are living in the 2021, 22, and after the COVID especially. And my background is I'm a consultant in digital transformation, financial technologies, cybersecurities, and governance of information technology. So this is more or less what is my specialty. As far as my commitment to society, I work with many different NGOs in the technology field to try to help. Was it on the government level or was it on the citizen level to try to promote the digital factor in a good way for human to be able to advance?
Thank you very much, Rudy. By way of please notice everyone that we are live on 5 platforms at the moment. So if you are having trouble viewing us on Instagram or any other platform, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. So please go ahead and I will try to moderate the chat if any comments. And today is about an introduction to the big buzz of words. For me, I know nothing about, or I'm trying to learn. And thank Rudy for having this introduction for us. What is cryptocurrency? How to invest? Start thinking of learning and investing in cryptocurrency. What's NFT? What's Metaverse? What is all this fuss and buzz around them? And how can we learn about them so that we securely, if you are thinking of investing, what tips and tricks can you give the audience, Rudy? We would be grateful.
Yeah, we'll start one by one. First, let's go back to the history where everything started. It started with creation of the blockchain by an anonymous person called Satoshi Nakamoto, that is still anonymous until today in 2008, and then creating the Bitcoin protocol, so you can really transact using that blockchain technology. But what he actually created, not just the Bitcoin digital currency, and we know the uses today of that currency, but he actually created that protocol of transparency and fighting governance in terms of centralization. So he created a system which is decentralized, not related to any government, not related to any central bank, and he was able to transact financial transactions without all of the what we actually know in the financial world. So that was the biggest hype. Now, if we go in the first, what they call the Genesis block, I'm just being too technical for a specific reason. The Genesis block, which was the first mining of a blockchain on Bitcoin, of course, it had a message that another bail-in from the federal state is happening in 2008. So that means the world doesn't trust anymore the traditional financial system, and we've seen what happened in 2008. We've seen where is the dollar value today. We've seen where is the monetary in the world and the economics in the world, especially now it has been stressed more with COVID and all of this. I will fast forward, let's say, around 10 years. Now, a lot of digital other coins were created trying to follow that hype and trying to, be like the Bitcoin. Most or some of them were even better than the creation of Bitcoin. And this is where we see a lot of projects today, to name a few, Ethereum and Cardano, Solana, and so on and so on. With the creation of Ethereum, they created something. It is decentralized in a way, but it has some centralization, a little bit different than the Bitcoin. With the creation of Ethereum, what they created something differently is ecosystem with it. So anybody now can develop his own application on Ethereum, and in a decentralized way. So if I have a dream, I want to achieve certain application on the internet where traditionally it used to be something not available in terms of payments and applications and so on. Now I'm able, because Ethereum took the lead or the second lead in that space, and they were able to have thousands and thousands of projects incubated inside Ethereum to be able to create other projects. Was it DeFi, NFT, and so on and so on. And now we're even talking more on the, what do you call them, the smart contracts and so on, which we'll explain later on as we move. So with that ecosystem,
it's becoming too complicated too fast.
I'm trying to really simplify it and not going into technical, but you need a background. With creation of that Ethereum and the creation of that ecosystem, really the driver of innovation on the blockchain and the world of crypto has started. All right. And we've seen the ups and downs from 2018. We've seen how, the monetary value of Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've seen what happened. Now everybody wants to go in 2021. And we've seen also the rise of NFTs, specifically the rise of non-fungible tokens. I'll explain it more. What is a non-fungible token? Those NFTs where they started with artists. Okay. What does a non-fungible token mean in general terms? It means something I cannot exchange. If I give you $10, you give me $5, that means it is exchanged. If I give you a Bitcoin, you give me, let's say, 1,000,000 Satoshis, we can exchange it. But having a Mona Lisa, for example, I can go and take a photo of that Mona Lisa, but the original Mona Lisa is non-exchangeable unless I buy it. So this is where the big success happened in the space of non-fungible tokens. And people started going in and buying art. Some of them are crappy. Some of them, doesn't make sense for us. You look at pixelated art and then it's like, what the heck is this? But really went much more than this, because the project behind it, what are they giving with that NFT? It's not about the NFT anymore. It's about what they are bringing with the NFT. Was it club of millionaires or club of famous people or club of entrepreneurs? We have a Lebanese also scenario here, which is a successful scenario. Or, it could have many different ways. But what was the power is, for the first time in history, we were able to give artists power, a decentralized power, to sell their art without going to a gallery. Mm-hmm. This is what, in the end, that was created, if we're talking about the NFTs and that space. So now,
does it have to be a digital art or traditional
any art?
Any art.
Even traditional art, I can take it on a NFT and then transfer the physical art to you. But it was more on the digital perspective. So now with that, they were able to give them without, paying fees for the gallery, which is sometimes reaching 60 and 70% of the sale. So, for example, you were able to sell a nice painting of $1,000, and then the gallery used to take $600 or $700 of fees. But what's even more important with the digital space and the crypto space and the blockchain in specific is that if I resell this painting, the same digital painting on NFTs, I will have royalty fees. That didn't happen before. So now, with Bored Ape, for example, this is one of the most famous, them and CryptoPunks, the most famous NFTs. They are in the millions. They were able to make $50 million in resale profit. That could not exist. So if I create an art, whatever is a project or whatever, and I sell it on NFT, and it says, once you resell it, I'm gaining. The second time you resell it, the value is going up, and in the same time, I'm my cut as a owner of that. Imagine the same thing in music.
Like in music royalties, yeah.
Music royalties, and you name it. The examples are numerous. So that's trying to be, brief in terms of the history and where we are going today and what's. And then suddenly we wake up, and then we have another dimension to learn. Facebook, Metaverse. Now
What
it's
the hell
something
is
totally
that?
new. Well, it wasn't something new, let me say the least. Facebook, I will not call them thieves, though they are. But stealing the term meta, from the world, it's like crazy. It has been there for, if you have, children, possibly your children has been playing in the metaverse with Roblox for more than 15 years. So it was there. We have another project, many other projects. Was it Decentraland? Was it, trying to name a few. I'll get them now. Sorry, I'm trying to remember. Was it Decentraland or the Sandbox or Meta Hero and other
Sandbox?
Yeah, Sandbox is very known. So now we have another dimension to really learn what they are trying to do with this. I'll go back to Facebook later on. What they are trying to do with this is actually create a virtual world, in my opinion, before going to Mars. So our next destination is a virtual world. The one after it is Mars. That is my belief. So when we say Elon Musk is going to Mars, he's really going to Mars. But in between those two worlds, we're creating something virtually to be able to jump as a first step going with a second step. But in the same time, if you look at the financials of Facebook within the last week, you would understand why they created a metaverse, especially Facebook. Because they saw there's a saturation in terms of subscribers, there's saturation in terms of advertising, there's a lot of bad publicity for Facebook and so on the privacy matters. It follows us everywhere. And then there was last year also the update of privacy from Apple, which that was a great thing, where Apple at least keeps our data, not share it with the many other applications. So now we're more protected on the Apple environment. That make it actually lose a lot of billions of dollars in terms of profitability for Facebook. But at the same time, they needed something new, I guess, to get people on board and try to spend more money. In parallel, Facebook was really venturing into the virtual reality goggles a lot, and AR, augmented reality. So they have their own goggles, which is now they're trying to sell. So people will go and on a frenzy Christmas and then buy all of these VR, you use them once and you throw them for the rest of your life. So
like I did 3 years ago with Google,
glasses.
the Google thingy, glasses.
Yeah. So that's the world of trying to summarize what's happening in this. And then we'll jump into the perspective of finance and possibly of investing.
Are these sustainable? Would we say that this is the future. No way it's gonna happen. Cryptocurrencies will maintain this leverage. So we have to invest. We have to carry cryptocurrency eventually. I mean, last time I was selling something online, and one of the buyer asked if he can pay in crypto. Uh,
Yeah.
so things are happening quickly, and my friends are also investing, and investing whether big amounts or small amounts just to learn. But can we say that eventually it's going to happen like 3 4 years down the road, and we have to carry that cryptocurrency in our e-wallets?
I will confirm that. Yes.
Mm,
And I will
yes.
go back to history. We've been there for more than 13 years now. And every year is the cryptocurrency going, is Bitcoin going, is
Mm,
Ethereum, and then it goes in
mm,
more and more in value and more adoption. But if you go less than 2 years, you see that traditional banks and financial institutions, they were challenging the state of Bitcoin,
mm,
trying to fight it in courts, trying to ban it. But if you look today, there's more than $10 billion invested by big banks. Big banks, I mean Chase Manhattan, JP Morgan, ING Insurance, and you name them. KPMG yesterday, during the tax filing, we discovered that they have in their portfolio, KPMG is a big four. So that means,
mm,
once they do that exercise, it's not something that is going. They're not ready to. I'm sure they've done their due diligence more than they do usually for other companies, for mergers and acquisitions. But having KPMG on board, I think that's a big advantage
and
for the world,
Tesla
and we
and
see it all over.
Tesla. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Mm,
Tesla is more of a hype, I would say,
mm,
because he's a manipulator. Tesla
yeah.
is a big manipulator. He was banned from, manipulating even his own stocks. So, well, he's a great guy in marketing, and everybody loves him. You cannot ignore him, but he's a big manipulator. If he has some interest in some project like Doge and the other ones, flying to the moon, so they fly to the moon. When he says go to the moon, now we have to see who's going to Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me, Rudy, if you are like me, you know nothing about the subject except that there are servers that are farming, and it's based on blockchain, and it's an investment. You have to hedge your portfolio and buy and sell. If this is the only thing I know about this new world, what's your number one recommendation for me to start even considering investing in this world?
True.
Where should I start?
Usually when we advise people to invest, is don't follow the trend. That's the first thing. And I'll give another example. If you have invested, and let's say the stock, or it's not a stock, the crypto went down, this is where you get burned. Don't sell. It's very unconventional, but this is where you get burned. You buy when it's going up, you don't sell when you're going down. And then try to invest in terms of extra money, not your main money. So if you had, let's say, you have retirement money or you have saved whatever,
It's in
try
the
to take
banks.
1/3.
Our
Sorry.
retirement money is stuck in the
And
banks in Lebanon.
yeah, that part, but for others they're not. I'm stuck and I'm stuck on a server somewhere. So anyway, try to take always, that, because there's always a risk. So if one day Satoshi Nakamoto wakes up, and then he moves his own wallet and own things, the market is going to go crashing, because the whole concept of that privacy and why he disappeared is part of the game. So read a lot about the project, of course. For example, I will give some names: Solana, Ethereum, Polygon. Those are projects that are, of course, Bitcoin. That's, whatever Bitcoin happens, everybody follow. It goes down, everybody follow
Yeah.
down. But as far as sustainability, Polygon, Solana, Ethereum, those projects are really sustainable because they are giving us solutions, not just in terms of finance, but in terms of uh, applications where we can build on
Mm.
top to create something better for humanity. This is the most important part, in my belief, that the whole blockchain world is about enhancing the human life in a very transparent and decentralized way. We're going to that Web 3.0, where they call it Web 3.0. It is about decentralization. It's about removing the power from the big guys and the big governments into the hand of the people. This is the ultimate goal of
Nice,
decentralization.
nice.
So it's about not a culture, or it's more of where are we going with this. That's why I believe, like, for those projects, I totally believe in them and I see the future. For example, Cardano, which is ADA, in case you want to invest, today is the best option for you guys to invest in. It's not, again, an advice, but it's a way to see that they have a project, they have future, they are governed in a way where the people decide, even on the decision of how they're gonna go for the future, and it's a non-governmental authority, which really provides a lot. Now there's the hype things also that we have to invest in. For example, going now in a metaverse. All right, there's a lot of metaverse. I would say coins or tokens. For example, Sandbox. It's a good project. Mana for Decentraland and Gala and Axis. Those are, I think, in my belief, those are four projects in the space of the meta, because what are you gonna spend inside the metaverse? Not cash,
Yeah,
not credit
yeah.
card. So they are building that ecosystem. I see a question about XRP. Well, XRP
XRP.
is doing good lately, but it has been dormant for the last 5, 6 years, 4 years. So it has a very good project. I've met the guys. I've met them in UAE. They have amazing project. I used to believe in them in terms of how they're gonna be doing it, but they have been stuck in an innovation because they went fully into legalizing with the regulators. With that, you have a lot of problems and a lot of bureaucracy that goes in, and it takes time to move things. But now they have a lot of lawsuits on them also. So we're waiting more
Rudy,
lawsuits. Yeah.
Rudy, are there advisors now in the market? Let's say I have $10,000 I want to invest and I don't know where to start. Can I go to someone, tell them, listen, manage my $10,000 and help me invest in those names that you mentioned? Where shall I put my money and when shall I buy? When shall I sell, etc.?
Yeah. I'll give you a couple of advices before going into that space. All right.
Okay.
The first advice, I totally believe in it, that there is no one person, one algorithm, one AI that can predict what's going to happen tomorrow. And the difference between stock market and this is stock market goes up maximum $100, $200. Here it falls $10,000 and $20,000.
Wow.
Uh, Stock market works from 9 to 5, for example, not on the weekends and so on. This is a 24/7 market, anytime. It's fueled by people. It's fueled by politics. I don't think there's in my 7 years now I've been into this. uh, the people that I follow, they all belong. It's that simple. I'm not claiming I'm a guru, but I've been proven wrong time and time again that there's no one person, even the person that predicted that it will reach $100,000 by 2021, he got it wrong. So there are tens, and then you see and you feel the market that is going up. You see that there's a buildup and so on, but this is very instantaneous and it happens. But you don't see, well, because of this news and that investment and that investment, well, we're going to be seeing a big project and so on. It's going to be booming. Why did it go up? We don't know. There was somebody investing billions of dollars. Who are those billions of dollars? Just imagine, as of the world works, 95% doesn't own Bitcoin. Only the
Mhm.
5% owns the total volume of Bitcoin. So if they move in for their benefit, they can manipulate that market, even though it is
Mhm.
decentral and everything. Yet there are algorithms that can, make you profits. There are tips, there are groups of telegrams where you purchase your subscription and then you be part, and then they give you, well, those are the best performing at this part, at this stage, and possibility of following that trend. We've seen that trend and win that trend. It's also, it's not that easy. It's not a science, unfortunately, even though you can see it up and down and you see all of those candles going up following a trend. Was it butterfly, or I don't know what other algorithms there are, but in the end of the day, there is no science in this.
Yeah. And the only thing, a fact is that you have to self-actualize yourself, read, invest time, not only invest money to learn it so that you do it properly.
That's
Uh,
that's that's my advice. Always research. For example, why I said Solana, because I believe Solana, for example, I know who are the project owners. This is very crucial
mhm,
for us. You don't want anybody that doesn't have technically a founder, and we don't know what is his background, what is his future, and then he suddenly disappears. We've seen it thousands and thousands of times. We have more than 8,000 crypto coins now. So,
mhm.
it's becoming a trend. So research on the project, understand who are the founders, understand what protocol, what are they going, what are they after, what are they trying to change and solve a problem. This is how I really invest. And sleep. Huddle,
Sleep.
huddle. That's the term. Hashtag huddle. Forever.
Hold it.
Once you grab something on a good day, sleep on it, and then that long-term investment will pay back.
So you recommend buying like those penny stocks, or you used to call them penny stocks, those small amounts of
Something like that.
pennies,
Something
crypto.
like that. Yeah.
But those are in those have the risk of shutting down eventually. No, shall we invest
Yes.
in the crypto of this world, in the Bitcoin of this world, or in those new penny kind of
Okay.
currencies?
To be a millionaire, you have to invest in millions. This
Okay.
is, I believe, I totally believe it. If you are lucky, for example, you bought $1,000 of Doge in 2017, and then you woke up in 2021, you sold them, you are a millionaire. It
Hmm.
happens.
Hmm.
But how would you know that this is the coin? It's because it was fueled by Elon Musk. In simple terms, what will he fuel another one? We will never know. But at the same time, why I'm saying I'm going for something more rigid in terms of long-term investment, because the possibility of what they are trying to solve, and when they have investments of billions of dollars, and then they are still somehow affordable. For example, ADA is today around $1 plus minus $1. So if you throw $1,000 and you sleep on it, possibly in the next 2 years it's going to be $10, it's going to be
Hmm.
$20, we don't know. But that is
Hmm.
$1,000 first of something I'm not in need of. In the second part, if I throw more, possibility of return is much higher also.
Hmm.
I would, because in Bitcoin, if you want to go in and throw in $200,000, all right, what is your profit margin?
Exactly. Why I don't buy a land, or I buy gold, or I buy bonds? What's the what's the average, if you want, till now, after those 7 years? What is the average of the return, the yield I can make in crypto if I did it right, like Eli Barakat mentioned? Thank you, Eli, for joining. He said the key is to diversify. Is there a study saying that on average it's a 30% lead, 40% lead, so it makes sense to invest in it? Or shall I go and buy a land or buy a Rolex, for God's sake, and sell it after 5 years?
If you want to keep your money in terms of small percent, depends also where is your geographical locations in those traditional ways of investment. Diversification is for sure what I go for. For example, if you let's say go to Miami and then they have a big project and a big city update and whatever. So if you buy a house on the beach, possibility that will grow and outgrow its price by double, okay,
Mhm.
by triple. That's the worst you can get. That's the best you can get. In crypto, no. If you, let's say it's $10, it's possibility to go $100. So this is 10x. But you have to really define what is that really coin that has a future, that has a project. I went with Ethereum when it was $260. So
Mhm.
imagine uh, how much of profits you could make out of that if you can find the next Ethereum, or if you can find the next best coin. And I believe in all of those coins that I named. I don't name them because it's an advice, because I believe in their projects and they have a future. The more they pump transactions, they are transacting millions and millions of dollars. So it's not a small project or something. And then you have to find people of uh, of influence. That market is driven by influencers, right?
What they are
Elon Musk.
doing, and yeah, you have to read and follow them and know what they are doing so that you will get some
Yeah.
insights.
Read.
Eli
Exactly.
Barakat is asking about Next Earth. What do you
It's
think about
another
Next Earth?
blockchain metaverse project, which possibly has a potential. It's still, taking its toll, because now there's competition in this. If I want to
Mhm.
name you, I'll name you another 20.
Yes.
So it has some potential, but where will it go? Where will it not go? There are a lot of people that are more advanced than Nexters.
Okay, Rudy. Now, my students and the youth also, because this is part of my followers and people I coach, always tell me, what do you think about cryptocurrency? Shall we invest in? I always say, I don't know about it, but invest in your hustle, your work, your putting your mind into effort and doing some real physical work. This is gambling. This is investment. Are you up to it? If you have that extra $50,000, do it. If not, invest it in a real business. Uh, am I saying something, dead wood, or something that does not reflect the future?
Yes and no. Diversification is always key. I believe the same. I believe in investment. I really believe in
Okay.
investment. All right. In terms on investment in actual projects and actual helping economies and actual growth and actual success stories, actual startups, because those are also an instrument where, if you take the Lebanese scenario, it was dead. There was no economy for investment. We would rather put our money and take 5, 6, 7, 10, and lastly 20% on our money, and then we don't invest them in our economy.
Because
And
the
we've
yield
seen what
was
was
much
the.
higher than, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to take any risk, but it ended up the biggest risk we ever witnessed. So,
exactly.
and it
Wow,
might happen
wow.
again in another country. You know, if you look at the states now, the dollar itself, I'm really afraid everybody is going to the dollar. America is big. We understand their economy, is one of the best. But guess who's on the corner? China. But look
China.
at their debt versus their inflation and everything. It's the worst since 1979 now.
In
So
States or in China?
in the states, in the states.
States.
So what is the situation of dollar? What is what's going to happen? I'm really afraid. For example, diversification now. Yes, go and diversify in gold now, not just Bitcoin, not just dollars. I would, because we're running away from locally, we're going for dollars, but I would go for gold. I would go for oil. I would go for Bitcoin. I would go for different diversification inside the crypto space.
Thank you very much, Rudy. This is very insightful and helpful. And now that we know what crypto, NFT, and Metaverse is about, and we debunked the so what, as you said, now let's discuss quickly and finally, to close this live uh, broadcast. So what? So what's next? Where can we find more information? Who can we contact? What can we visit as pages or peoples to follow? And how people can find you to know more
Yeah,
about the subject.
yeah.
Let me share.
I'll start by I want to invite your audience also to join my channel. I'm not taking the benefit of this, but at least because we have, every Wednesday 6:30 p.m. Beirut time, 8:30 p.m. UAE time, something called Crypto Talks. So our main goal of this is awareness, and it is in Arabic for the Arab region in specific, because we found a gap in the market that there's no one talking in Arabic and trying to really make people aware. Starting by the fraud, we've seen fraud. We talked about them all on our show, and then you know what happens next? People keeps on falling uh, into those fraud. So follow me at Rudy on all social medias, or DX Talks, or even Crypto Talks. Uh, Going also to other, follow Vitalik Buterin, which he is the founder of Ethereum. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano. Follow those really core projects on the world, because they have insights. They are trying to change the world towards a better one, using those, blockchain. Blockchain is the next technology. You have to
Mhm.
learn what is blockchain. You cannot run away. In my belief, and I always say when I have university lectures, two things you need to learn: AI and blockchain. If you are
Mhm.
not into that space, you're studying something that is dying. And this is
Especially
crucial.
if
I
you are
mean,
a, especially if you
you're
are a
stud-
computer science or an engineer or
yeah, it's a base. It's a base. But move it towards something of the future, because the next technologies, and that's something, the next 5 years and 10 years, they're going to be jobs that doesn't exist today.
yeah. Corona also uh, confirmed what you were saying, just saying. So yeah, definitely
Corona has just made things much faster.
faster. Exactly. And with every risk, there's an opportunity. With the crisis happening in Lebanon, there's an opportunity of us learning more about crypto and exiting this mud pot that we are having. Thank you very much, Rudy, for your time, and hopefully
I
we've
just want to
added.
say one last word.
Sure,
Sorry,
sure.
about
Please go
about
ahead.
the Lebanese situation. In my belief, even though it is a hard economical fall, regardless of the political and whatever, it is the best opportunity for Lebanon to be able to self-depend on itself. Before 2019, especially between 2012 and 2019, because there was a deliberate political effort to kill our economy in all terms. I could import whatever I want, was it from Turkey, Russia, you name it, and China, much less than from Lebanon.
Mm,
Anything from food, from steel, from, if I want to get a sofa from Italy, I used to get it from Italy, high brand, lower than making it in Lebanon. Because
mhm,
they were removing all of those taxes, removing and incentives for outside. What? Come on, there was a lot of things that didn't make sense. We didn't have agriculture in terms of agriculture. Now we are going back into that roots of us, and then trying to create our own brands, trying to create our own economy for the first time, possibly, and also in our history, towards hopefully our better, if those good politicians, and with elections coming, those good politicians, help us try to create that brand new Lebanon with the help of those who stayed, because we are suffering a brain drain now. On top of this, people are flying all over. You're lucky you're here. I'm lucky I'm here, but most of our friends are gone. So we have to benefit of that situation and try to really innovate on ourselves and move on towards the future.
hopefully. And with those words, I really thank you, Rudy, very much for this insightful episode, and looking forward to some more. Thank you very much, everyone, and stay tuned next week to another episode of Leadership. Maybe we'll have more talks about crypto NFTs and Metaverse because it's the subject right now. Thank you, Rudy, and see you then.
Bye bye.